the form of a trust and what is the purposes for these different trusts, then you start having a further understanding of what it is. And it's
What's good, everybody? What is good? Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed, where we talk about everything related to entrepreneurship with a twist of business acquisitions. And today I got two brothers on here that are gonna blow your mind. Oh my goodness, man. When I first met these guys and the things that we've been talking about, we immediately said we gotta partner up on stuff. And it led to so much more. And right now we're trying to change the game for a lot of people because these are the things that people think is above them. These are the things that people think is like, oh, that's just for the wealthy. I can't do that. These are the things that people don't even know the full details about. So without further ado, let's jump into exposing the use of trust to protect your assets, the use of trust to acquire businesses, the use of trust to live with my guys, Minister BeeBetta and Minister Amenti. Welcome to the podcast, fellas. How y'all doing today?
Hey, what's going on, brother? We happy to be here, man.
That's what's up.
glad to be here, man. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. It's a pleasure, man. I love our conversations. They get kind of crazy sometimes. So I figure let's let people hear a little bit of it, right? So go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell the people a little bit more about each of you, where you came from, what you're doing, and how you got to where you are now with the world of trust.
I'll let you go first, bro.
All right. Well, my name is Amenti. I'm originally from Enid, Oklahoma. Grew up in Houston, Texas, from the age 5 on up. Reside in Austin area, live in the hills. Man, I had a crazy come up in this world. I grew up as a laborer, like most people. My family were hard workers. My mother actually did work for, so far as tax, what do you call it?
Tax?
I forgot what the name of it. I'm tripping. But my mom worked in taxes. My dad owned his own landscaping business. I grew up in the landscaping business. From there, I went into construction, made my way all the way through that, and then I'm a deep sea diver by trade. Ooh. So I did diving in Gulf of Mexico. And then I got into inspection. And then from there, I started off owning my own businesses. I started off first with owning a moving company. I did pretty well. Wouldn't say great. I didn't know anything about business at the time. I just knew how to be a worker. So it didn't work out all that great, but it was something that maintained the family and got us to the next point. And then so happened at the end of that excursion, I ran across information about trust and just this different perspective of how things work, right? And me and BeeBetta will get a little bit into detail about that. But just to let you guys know, that journey started in about 2008, slowly. And then in 2017, 9 years later, it rapidly exploded. Like, I put full energy into learning everything that I needed to know and how things around me work so far as governments and business. So that's my introduction. That's who I am.
I love that you say that too, and I'm gonna let BeeBetta introduce too. But I love that you say that because you learned how things work. That's the key there, right? A lot of times we're thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna learn the secrets of what these people doing and other people doing. No, they're learning the secrets of how things actually work. It's just that not everybody knows how things work, right? And I love to go back to the fact that the United States is not a country; it is literally a corporation. Correct. But if you don't know that, you're not going to think from the perspective of a corporation and how things work, right?
Correct.
So I love that you said that, brother. And you know what? Okay, before you get to the episode, I just wanted to take another moment to say thank you to each and every one of you for supporting the channel. Entrepreneurship Exposed is starting to grow like crazy, and it's all thanks to you guys. Now, if you like the content, like the information that you're getting, like the guest speakers, like all of the strategies, then the way that you can support us is by subscribing to the channel below. Now, after you subscribe, you want to make sure that you also like every video. You comment on it if you can. And even more important is to click that notification bell. That notification bell will make sure that you get to see every single episode with all of this amazing information so that you can get started on your journey as an entrepreneur. All right, now back to the episode. Let's go. And you know what? Before this episode is over, I want you to say something else that I've always loved that you said is about understanding, overstanding. I won't even mention it. I'll let you explain that in a little bit.
We'll get that in a little bit.
There we go. There we go.
I promise it's coming.
BeeBetta, my brother. Go ahead and
What's going on now? All right, y'all. I'm Minister BeeBetta. Well, I'm now a certified hypnotherapist, but I do trust along with Amenti. We partnered up and grew this business on this unit. We also got a university as well where we teach about trust. We'll get into that a little bit. My background is military. I went in the military at 17. Around 17, my mom signed me in. 18, I was already in the military. Around 2 years later, I fought my first war, which was OIF 1. And then I also fought in OIF 2. So I was overseas from 2005 all the way to 2007. So I did a year and a couple of months each tour. The second tour, I got hurt in a I would say a dump truck explosion. So a dump truck explosion, that's what happened to me. It got me out of the military a little early at 9 years. So after the 9 years, I moved from El Paso. I retired, moved to El Paso. And that's when the trust stuff started studying it, but not really dig into it until I kind of met Menti. Me and Menti met each other around that 17 mark, around 17, 18 mark. So we almost kind of like studied together, but we kind of dig in and we separated. He got information, I got information, then we bring it all back to the pot. And then now you got Truth Management University. So, we got a background in a lot. I do have a background in business. I love business. So we pretty much put the business and the trust together and show people the ins and outs of how everybody work and how the government love businesses over individuals. So we have to always remember that. Yeah.
Yep. See, and reinforcing what we were just talking about, the U.S. is a corporation. On top of that, the U.S. is a trust.
Yes.
Right? So founded based on the trust. I'm not even going to try to get step on y'all toes because that's your lane and you can explain it better than me.
Yeah, that's all right, man. You can moderate.
There's so much that goes into it, man. And the first question I got to ask both of y'all is, how do you deliver this information to people? Because I mean, man, I've spoken to y'all many times, and even after speaking to you many times, some stuff I'm like, damn, wait, what? And I got to go back and think about it and read my notes and everything. It's a lot of info. It's a lot that you can do. It's a lot that comes with it. How do you deliver this information to people without scaring them off?
Complicated.
Very carefully. Very carefully. What we try to do is we try to first get you to understand who you are and the whole scenario, right? And if we're talking about trust, there's only 3 positions that can be played inside of a trust. Now it's up to you, which one of the positions are you going to play? There's only 3 positions: the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. Now, considering that you did not create it and that you shouldn't want to do the administrative work for it because it's too much work to even do, what you're going to do is claim that you're the beneficiary of that. Now, when it's something that you can control, something that you create, you're going to reel all that in, right? And then you're going to take control of it, but you're going to do it with competency. And the only way you're going to get competent is if you're reading and you're being guided, or you're mentored, and that's what I mean by being guided. You're mentored into the right direction. Because there's all kinds of directions you can go with it. When I first got into it, I had a little understanding, right? Yeah. But once I started reading the actual text and how it's formed and the form of a trust and what is the purposes for these different trusts, then you start having a further understanding of what it is, and it's in law is considered a natural person. So what you're simply doing is you're passing on responsibility onto another entity that you created, but that you control. So there's a lot.
Hey, drop the code for them too, man. The code for
so they can the U.S. code, the tax code.
Yeah,
26 CFR 1.671-5 is underneath the widely held fixed investment trust, and you'll find in B22 in that section that the United States person is a trust.
Repeat that code one more time. Let me make sure the team got it too.
26 CFR 1.671-5. Okay. And then B22 is going to say the U.S. person is a trust. Underneath that, in part 2 is going to say there's a beneficial owner. So who's the beneficial owner of the name? Ooh. That's up to you and how much you learn.
Oh, okay. I don't even want to ask the follow-up question that I would ask, because I know we go down that rabbit hole for sure. And I'm sure people are like, wait, hold up. What's going on right now? So you got their juices stirring right now. And it's like, okay, this is something
like you say, you'd have
been
and you have to know it, because the government itself is operating in trust. So if you don't know the position that you in, you can't inform them of the position that they're in. So if they're your trustee and you the beneficiary, then they're supposed to handle your affairs for you as your trustee, as if you did a regular trust yourself. But the problem is they have the "In God We Trust," and then they give you certificates, and then they make you a beneficiary of that trust. But the problem is they charge you in that trust. So they charge you for different things. Tickets, a light bill, water bill, gas bill, all the natural resources is what they charge you for. But once you start to understand you're the beneficiary, then you can start to take that role back, and you can show them as the trustee, like, okay, you're supposed to handle this for me. So my job is to study and to study trust, so I can understand how to tell you to operate for me. Like if you had a lawyer. Some people let the lawyer just run in the courtroom and do things. But when you're dealing with trust, you don't hire a lawyer. You self-represent yourself.
And you know what I love about what you just said there, BeeBetta, is that there's something I think it was Brother Umar said to me once. He was like, and I may misquote him, but ignorance of the law doesn't absolve you from the law.
Yeah,
right.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah, you didn't know that was the law. So, but that doesn't mean that you have that as an excuse, right? And it's the same thing here. It's like, if you don't know the details of your trust and how to work within your trust and whatnot, then it's just there without you. You're not using it to the full extent. If you don't know the concept of the trust and who you are, as Amenti said, then you don't know what you can get done from the government based on using their rules that already exist, right?
You said
if you don't even know the rules exist, much less know who you are, how can you take advantage of it?
Right. You said the key thing, their rules. See, now once you realize who you are, you realize that you can create your own rules as long as you're not harming anybody else. That's the golden rule. Okay. See, now what we have in order, or what's supposed to be in order, what's supposed to draw us all in order, is natural law. Common law is based upon natural law. So common law is close to common sense, right? It's not supposed to be anything outside the common man's knowledge of what's going on. Everything's supposed to be, out in the open. And, if I hurt you, you have a right to get redemption back from me because I harmed you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what people got to realize is when you start dealing with trust, you're going to start implementing natural law and how you do the order of things, right? So you're still within the principles in which the Constitution was built. That's number one.
Yeah.
All right. And we're not going outside of the law to do anything that would harm anybody.
True that.
So once again, if you're going to be a trustee, it's all about you learning how to be noble. That's a big key to you working your trust and building it the way that it is supposed to be built, because it's supposed to be built to last.
So the thing with that too, right? And for all the listeners, we're talking about one aspect of a trust, right? One type of trust too, right? So Minister BeeBetta and Minister Amenti are the ones who first put me on to a foreign trust and how that could be utilized and how you can get the powers of diplomatic immunity, in essence, if you know how to utilize a foreign trust correctly, right? But that's not the only types of trust. So thanks to BeeBetta and Amenti, we've also looked at what we could do in business acquisitions. Amenti said that he, one of his first companies was lawn care. I think he said lawn service. And, it's funny because I was just looking at some lawn care companies for sale recently, right? So now we acquiring businesses and using trust. What are those other types of trusts that exist? So the foreign trust is what you kind of been talking about, but what else is there?
Yeah. Well, the 4 trusts that we offer in our services. So first you have the family trust. So the family trust is about your family. That's where you come up with your family crest. Like how you see the king and the queen got it on their gate.
Yeah.
Rick Ross got the R on his gate. So it's pretty much giving up a warning to not trespass. That's what it is. So let's say you got a gate in front of your house, Beez. If you got a regular gate, somebody can get through it. But let's say you got a gate and you got the letter B written on it. And then you got a crest that represents that letter B that's connected to that trust. Now the trust power is now on that gate. If the police was to come, you being in trust means you in a different jurisdiction. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Wait, before you go into jurisdiction,
let me
other types.
So you got the irrevocable. So really focus on this. You only got 2 types of trust. 2 types, right? Okay. Which is irrevocable and revocable. So revocable. So that's the thing. You got many types of trust, but you only got 2 categories of trust.
Got you.
So you got the irrevocable and the revocable. The revocable is the living trust. The irrevocable, it's a trust, but it's more concrete. It's like a vault. So one trust is revocable, so it's living, so that means you can make changes. So you can amend your trust. Just like the Constitution. The Constitution is a trust. That's how you can amend it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So then you go to the irrevocable. So the irrevocable can't be changed. But that trust is normally like a business trust or a foreign trust. The family trust is normally living. So you want to make changes. So the rest of them will be irrevocable unless you want them to be what we just designed. Menti designed the trust called irrevocable amendable trust. So we also created that as well. So you have those 2 categories, irrevocable, revocable. But you also have the 4 trusts that we designed. With the family trust, you're right. So now you got the family trust, the business trust, which encompasses your businesses and protect those. Then you have the ministry trust, where you start to activate your religion and what you believe in, because everybody shouldn't believe in the same thing. That's the problem. Then we have the last one, which is the foreign trust. So the foreign trust is outside of jurisdiction of the United States. So once
now those are the 4.
Yep.
Those are the 4 trusts that you guys focus on, but there's other types too, right? Like
170 something different types of trusts.
Okay. I've heard of like dynasty
so you got
trust.
Testamatory, you got beneficial owner
charitable trust.
Charitable trust.
Explain the difference between charitable trust and ministry trust. Yeah.
They can be operated. It's more in the title and how you operate it. Right. So really when you talk about a trust, it's really about what you put in the operating agreement, almost the same as you do an LLC. The rules, the rules are in that agreement. So based on the agreement, the title can be anything. So just because I name it a ministry trust, don't mean that I will run it like a ministry. I still might run it like a nonprofit.
Gotcha.
So it all depends. Yeah.
Okay.
But you set your rules. That's what most people have to understand.
Yeah.
In a trust, you create your own jurisdiction, which is your own circle around yourself and your family. And then outside of that jurisdiction, you will have your LLCs do work for you because you don't want your trust to do work.
Okay. Well, let's dig into that now. Let's dig into that, especially because we talk about acquisitions on here as well, right? Now, acquiring businesses, the typical way, you're gonna, form some sort of SPV, special purpose vehicle, whether it's an LLC, whether it's a C Corp, whether it's whatever it may be. And then you're going to put that business is going to be the new owner of the business that you acquire, right? So if you keep the same entity when you acquire it, now your existing business becomes a member of that LLC or whatever. Or if you don't keep the same entity, you just take assets from the business that you buy. Now it's all in your current LLC, right?
Correct.
But why is it better to have a trust or to acquire with a trust instead of an LLC? Now I know the answer, but I want to.
Yeah. Well, the first thing y'all will want to know, I'll just say one, and I'll let Minty say one. Taxes is you only get harmed by taxes if you're an individual. But
yes.
remember this: you are individual based on legalese, not law. You are individual based on the code that Minty just said. Mm-hmm. So if you are individual by law, because it could be a corporation, a trust, it could be corporation, trust, LLC, S Corp, Indian tribes, any of that can go under the category of person. All of these are persons, right? The thing that you're doing is you creating a person, so you have the power to create. So you're creating a person, and then you passing everything that you own. So let's say Beez. You as the grantor has assets, but you want to pass it to your beneficiaries. So you will either choose a trustee, which you want a trustee outside of the family if you can't find one that you trust. Then you will pass those assets to the trustee. So at that point, anybody that comes after you, they can't come after you because you no longer own it. You no longer own the assets because you passed the assets to somebody else. And when I say somebody else, a trust is a person. Yeah. Exactly. So it's almost like you made Jim Brown trust.
Yeah.
Now that's Jim Brown, which is a person by law at this point because you created a trust. Now you're gonna say, "Hey, Jim Brown, hold this for me."
Hold this for me. Famous words. Let's go.
And Jim Brown doesn't receive income. Jim Brown receives derivatives, which are not taxable.
So you see, there we go. That's what I'm talking about when I say that we have to learn these rules. I still bring up the example of Donald Trump, how he buried his ex-wife on his golf course, and then that allowed him to get tax benefits and be treated as a cemetery. His golf course to be treated as a cemetery. Knowing that is possible, he executed on it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And if you have a big plot of land, first thing you want to do is think about going and get you some cattle, some livestock. If you got 25 plus acres, you need to go get some livestock.
Okay.
If you don't know anything about the tax code, hear this: go get some livestock.
Agriculture is all 100% tax write-off. Nobody bother you about anything because agriculture is helping the cause. So, but that's why we want to actually start bringing up where normally we set up LLCs to work in conjunction with trusts, but now we starting to realize that we knowing who we are now, right? Knowing who we are, because remember, Beez, you're not written in the Constitution, but the Constitution protects you. So let's get to that first, because that we have to make sure that everybody understands. If you look like me or you, or if your family been involved with people that look like me and you, you go under a category in law, which, let's just kill it. You're not black. You cannot operate in trust or operate in the LLC calling yourself black. Don't do it. By legalese, black means dead. That means that you are a dead person. So when they said Black Lives Matter, they said dead lives matter.
Okay, hold up. You about to take it into the super rabbit hole. We about to go deep.
But I want
we want to talk about
Kanye
then, huh?
But I want them to hear it. So
that's a whole other story.
Yeah. But remember that even when they hear stuff like Kanye West, people talking like that, that's the reason they talking like that, is because they're trying to wake up our people, right? Because our people is the one that really need to learn trust, because we never knew about trust. We just learned about business. So we taking our time. But the first thing we have to understand is that we not written in the Constitution. So that means if you're not written in the Constitution, that means you have different laws.
I'll put it to you like this. I'll add this. You are written in the Constitution. It's just one part. Article 6, Clause 2, where it says, and this is known as the Supremacy Clause, that everything in the Constitution is the law of the land, and the treaties that presided it, and the ones to follow. So your treaty with the United States is your law.
Okay. You see, this is what I mean. There's so much about it, because there's different aspects that you can look at when it comes to the trust, right? And that determines how you can live. And when we focus more on the business side of things, right? How we acquire businesses, how we protect those assets, any assets, by putting them in the trust, right? That is the most important thing for, especially creating that wealth for us, right? So it's one thing about how we live, it's one thing about laws, it's one thing about the natural person, but then also a business itself and creating wealth by putting it in there. One of the things I tell people is that a will is a ticket to probate court, right? A will, it's private initially, but then once you pass, the attorney needs to make it public in order to, call in people. And once it's public,
coming to get theirs. As soon as the
first people coming to get theirs is the creditors, and then the probate court gonna take their percentage, and then your family gonna fight over the rest, right?
Yep.
Administrative clerk's gonna get theirs. Everybody's gonna have their hands in the pot.
People you didn't even meet, people you never met,
There's a lot of
that's why the people who know the power of a trust, the Rothschilds, all the big names throughout history, the Kennedys, all of them, and throughout U.S. history especially, they have been utilizing these trusts to avoid things like probate court, to avoid the government taking anything from them. They're using it to accumulate wealth and protect their wealth, and this is why we got to do it as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's perfect time for us to get into our pop segment, right? Because we already kind of explained the different types of trusts out there and the overview of how you can utilize it. But let's pop it a little bit before we go any deeper, right? So tell me, what do you think are the pros, which you kind of touched on already, the pros of utilizing a trust? And you can pick any type of trust that you want to explain to people in terms of the pros for it.
I'll go first. I'll say the first one. Anonymity in the public.
Oh, that is powerful. Yes. Because even when it comes to establishing an LLC or something, a lot of people go to certain states in order to establish it because of that anonymity, right? Now with a trust, you have even more anonymity and more protection and power. I love that. BeeBetta, you want to throw in something too for a pro, or we go?
Well, the pro, we always hear taxes all the time, but another pro is claiming your assets. Let's say you had $1 million house, right? Yeah. Well, we just came across this. For example, $3.1 million house, right? What most people do is they put the mortgage and the house together, but that's not how it works. Your finances that goes with your home is separate from the deed. Two different things, right? Yeah. The mortgage company comes after you, but let's say you had an irrevocable trust and you transferred that home into that irrevocable trust. An irrevocable trust protects you from debt collectors. And what is a mortgage company? I stop right there.
Man. Yeah. You can stop right there because that is powerful. If you didn't know what you could do with trust before, that alone should have you wanting to learn more.
Well, most people ask why you transfer. This is one thing I want to get clear too. Most people always say, "Oh, I'm gonna put something in the trust." You're not putting anything in it necessarily. It's just on the Schedule A, you have your assets listed. So the Schedule A inside of the trust is what's holding the assets, right? And then the trust protects it. But the main thing that we want to get across is anything, house, car, anything that you got from credit in your name allows you to be able to transfer it. And it's called a no-do clause. That's how the mortgage company. So if you looking into mortgages, look up no-do clause, and it'll tell you that you have permission to transfer the deed because you're the grantor of the loan.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a concept that people got to learn too, that you are the grantor.
You the grantor of the loan, right?
Yeah, that's a different discussion because you slid that in, and I knew what you meant, but
you created it.
Like, wait, no, isn't the bank the grantor? That's a whole other story.
Whole nother rabbit hole. Yeah.
So let's go into the opportunities now. Why people should consider one of the 4 types of trust that you guys focus on, and the opportunities that are coming that they'll be able to take advantage of.
Well, they can. Well, right now we got a lot of people in business. We on this podcast for that. So most people have businesses, but that business can be sued. But it can't be sued if it's owned by a trust. So if you have a business and you sold that business to the trust, then now the trust owns the business. So it's no longer you. So you have no liability to that, whatever that is you have connected. So you connected to it, but now you're not, because you just passed it to something else that stands above everything in law. People must understand a trust. The Constitution is a trust. So that means you can design a trust that stands above the Constitution, which is an aboriginal trust. That's what we always say, know who you are. Because if you don't fit into their rules, because their rules was created by the In God We Trust, but we didn't have any say so in the In God We Trust. They left us on the outside of it. So that's the reason why you want to get to creating your own jurisdiction. I keep saying jurisdiction, but we can change that to another word to let people understand. Let's say you creating your own fort.
Territory.
Picture a castle. A castle is a trust. Like picture how they used to do the king and queen castle back in the day. Let's say the asset is the castle, but the wall is the trust. You see what I'm saying? If you don't get through the trust, you can't get to the asset. So, So knowing who you are and knowing that you're not placed into theirs like that, but you are protected because the Constitution tells them how to act towards you. But then you create a trust and you need to tell them how to act towards you. So let's say when we get stopped on the side of the road, I don't own the car anymore. My trust owns the car. So you have to write my registered agent, not me.
There we go. That's another strategy. Here goes the power of the trust again, right? Because especially in this country, Black people are killed disproportionately by law enforcement, and we have an actual vehicle, path, strategy, method that you could be used to help reduce that.
Let me add into that, Beez, because I think that's very important, right? So when we build trust for our clients, we always implore them to get involved with life insurance, right? Now, let's say somebody who comes to us hasn't had any of this experience before. They have a family, they have a wife, several kids. What we're going to do is we're going to implore them to get life insurance policies on everybody in the house. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to deter if we all start getting life insurance policies for our families. That is going to deter any police force from wanting to do harm to any one of us anybody who looks like us. The reason being is because if somebody was to get slain, you won't need to have an attorney. because the life insurance policy is going to provide the attorney because they want to know what happened.
Yeah.
And everything is going to be laid out on the table because they have the best and the baddest attorneys around. So law enforcement, once they figure out that certain people are moving with life insurance policy, then they're going to be harassing your children anymore. Right? That's going to eventually quail.
Yep.
You know what you're describing?
The police officer got to pay $1 million out plus for every time you get the child out.
What you're describing also is part of why I tell people business acquisitions is the most important investment strategy that you can learn and get into. Saying that I use a lot is I don't teach plays. I teach sustainable strategies, right? Plays get played out, right? If you got this little quick get rich quick scheme, play, whatever, maybe the first couple people get in it, they may make some little quick cash or whatever, but then they get played out and then it's not sustainable anymore, right? Now, with business acquisitions, let's say one day they're like, hey, Beez doing too much acquisitions and he's sharing it with other people, letting them know how to do it. Now we got to change this so people can't buy businesses. Guess what? Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, all of the super wealthy people, Bezos, they're going to fight that battle for me. Just like what you're describing right now. Police, they getting them all up on people and whatnot. They're killing people and disproportionately. The insurance companies don't want to pay that out. So if we are all insured, the insurance companies are going to fight that battle for us. And they got more power, more reach, more wealth, all of that. So I love that analogy that you were using there, because that's perfect. That's not even an analogy. That's a literal thing that everybody should take into account. And
they gotta think about this, because normally when we get into investments and then we talk about eliminating taxes, it always has something to do with an asset like a home or apartment complex, some type of investment that you passing your money through. But with a trust, you don't have to go out and create all these different things if you don't want to. Let's say you do stocks. You could just create a regular LLC account, which is just for banking purposes. Mm-hmm. And then that bank account is going to now pay out to the trust. So now the trust is going to take care of you. So you're going to be, so the trust is then going to give you a dividend payout. Yeah. You can do it quarterly or you can do it whenever you need it, but you're not pulling cash out. You're only using the trust account.
There we go.
That's non-taxable. Yeah, that'll keep you out of the tax loop.
So I got a question for you, and I'm sure this question may come up with other people, so it'd be good for you to figure out the answer if you don't already have it. And if you have your individual investment accounts and individual brokerage accounts, and now you want to make that into, being owned by the trust, what would you suggest for people to do in order to get that done?
We would suggest to have a trust brokerage account. They got simple trust brokerage accounts you can open. So all you got to do is switch it over, and transfer the money over.
Yeah. So TD Ameritrade is a good one. Fidelity is good to get.
Wells
Fargo. But you want to get a non-interest bearing account, though. You never want to mess with interest bearing accounts.
Right.
So you want to do non-interest bearing when you do that.
Gotcha. You guys got the answer.
But then remember, too, this is the big point. What we said earlier. You are a grantor.
Yeah.
A grantor means that
I think you're breaking up a little bit. BeeBetta.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
all right,
slightly.
Hold on. How about now?
There we go. Keep going.
All right. So, when you're setting up the trust account, that brokerage account, once you do that, you are a grantor. So anything that comes to you, you have permission to transfer it to a trust.
There we go. Okay.
All property.
Because even with your social security number,
all property.
Because when you buy stuff through credit with your social security number, you are the grantor of that. So once you get it, a grantor have the power to transfer anything by quit claim deed, warranty deed, or transfer deed.
See, this is what I mean, everybody. This is why we have to get that information. right? We gotta tap in with resources like truth management, and we have to then execute on the things that we learn, because that's how we could live the life that we deserve and that, you know, that many others are living, right? But we gotta learn the info first, then we gotta execute on it. So let's get to the last part of POP, because we didn't finish the problems. What would you say are problems that people need to look out for when it comes to a trust?
Hiring the wrong trustee. Hiring the wrong trustee, or hiring the wrong company to set it up. Hiring the wrong company to set up the trust. Paying too much, putting too much dividends to go out to one beneficiary. There's multiple things that you can get into, but the biggest thing is managing it, because a trust can be pierced. A trust can't be sued, but it can be pierced, which is different.
Yeah.
So a LLC can be sued, but when we say pierced, that means that's the person full trust.
I think we missed you. We missed you again and broke up a bit. Amenti, you wanna pick up where he was saying?
Yeah, he was just saying that the trust can be pierced, but you can't really break into it. And it depends on how you have it set up. Once again, if you're operating in a revocable trust and you got assets in there, that can be broken into if it's something that like I wouldn't have certain things in there. All right, I just wouldn't put it out in the public. So anything private, we put in a revocable trust. So like jewelry, accounts, personal accounts.
In a revocable or an irrevocable?
Right. No, this is for the revocable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a ministry tied to all that, then we're gonna move everything to the ministry where it's really safe. If you have a ministry tied to it, the only thing that we're really doing with the revocable is moving the asset portion that's in the public to your care. That's what it's really for. And then from there, you transfer the assets to other trusts.
Yeah.
But that's the one that can be pierced. If you have a ministry, that can't be touched. That can't be touched.
That's under ecclesiastical law.
Right. If you got a foreign, that can't be touched. It's out of their jurisdiction. So if you have let's say I have all four, right? I'll have a revocable, and then the revocable is going to be owned by the ministry, and the ministry may own my business, and then on top of that, the foreign may own the ministry. But at that point, you don't even really have to go there if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But if you're going to claim like the land here underneath consanguinity, which is birthright, then you're going to need that foreign that we talk about. Ooh, so depends on what you want to do and where you want to take it to.
This conversation has been insane.
Yeah, because remember, Beez, with your church, remember, if you created a ministry trust, wouldn't you be able to donate everything from the family and the business trust to the church without somebody stopping you? You ever seen somebody stop somebody from donating land to a preacher? You ever seen somebody stop and say, "Don't put your money in that cash thing that they're passing around, that collection plate"? You can't stop it because it's ran by a trust. A trust can intercept cash, money, jewelry, anything without any liability, period.
And it was done with the person's consent.
Voluntarily.
That's the legal angle, what was being done. So if I willfully give you everything that I have, there ain't no law against that.
No tax neither.
No tax neither.
Okay.
So if an older person was 80 years old, they about to pass, they don't have no beneficiaries, they can go get a house to the church. They can donate the house to the church. And they can donate their bank account to the church also.
There we go.
So wouldn't you want to have your own family church? Yeah, you probably want to have your own family church.
Yeah, I think it's time. It's time for me to set that up too.
Grant Cardone say that. Grant Cardone say, "I donate everything I make to my church." He ain't never said what church.
Yeah.
He just said the church.
Ooh, okay. You see, now you done gave me homework things that I got to do. I love it, man. Listen, so I have a challenge going on right now called the $1 Trillion Table Challenge. $1 Trillion Table Challenge means that by the end of this decade, I want to sit in a room. I want to see other people at a table that look like me, and we have $1 trillion AUM, assets under management, right? That doesn't mean $1 trillion in my pocket. That just means that we have assets that we are managing, real estate, businesses that we own, all of that. And hopefully
banks.
And hopefully all of those are in our trust to protect it.
It better be.
It better be.
If they involved with us, they will be.
You feel me? Will the both of you be at that table?
Say that one more time, I missed you.
Will you be at that table?
I'm definitely going to be at that table. Me and B. I'm going to speak for him too. We both going to be at that table.
There we go.
We plan on doing big things, y'all.
Yeah, man.
We just beginning.
We're just beginning, brother. Yes. And the ways to create wealth are typically real estate, businesses, whether you own that, whether you buy them or you build it.
Right.
And then your financial markets, your stocks, your
portfolio,
Forex, your portfolio like that.
Yeah.
So all three of those together really helps, but you got to do at least one, right?
Got to do it with discipline.
Got to do it with discipline. And I'm gonna be that discipline for you and BeeBetta, because I'm gonna focus on making sure that y'all are acquiring businesses too.
Thank you, man. We definitely along for the ride.
Let's go, my brother.
All right.
Hey, Amenti, thank you, man. Thanks to BeeBetta too. Unfortunately, he got disconnected, but thank you both for coming on and sharing this insane information, because you're bettering our communities, bettering our people, giving us a chance, giving us opportunities that we didn't even know existed. All right. So keep doing what you're doing, my brother. Both of you. It's amazing. It's needed and very much appreciated.
Well, thank you for having us on your show. It's much appreciated. I will let y'all know, Truth Management and my man Beez will be hooking up. We are hooked up, and we're going to let everybody know, or try to help as many people as we can understand how the game is played and how we as a people can take advantage of the game.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us, brother.
For sure, my brother. And where's the best way for people to get in touch with you? We already got your IG going across the bottom.
Man, they can hit us at the website. It's probably the best spot. truthmanagementuniversity.org.
Truthmanagementuniversity.org.
That's right.
All right. We'll be sure to put that down in the description so everybody can find it as well. Amenti, again, thank you so much, my brother. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the $1 Trillion Table, and I'm looking forward to building with you, bro.
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
Peace and love, y'all. Thank y'all.
Peace and love. All right, everybody. Shout out for another great episode. Make sure that you like and subscribe to Entrepreneurship Exposed so that you do not miss information like this, because we will have Minister Amenti and Minister BeeBetta back on here, because there's so much to talk about when it comes to trust and to growing and protecting wealth. So stay tuned for much, much more, and I'll see y'all on the next episode.